I started focusing on more general interest, things like educating people about legal issues in the news and reacting to portrayals of lawyers in movies and TV shows and explaining when the TV show is completely inaccurate, when people are making an objection to leading during cross-examination, when that's all cross-examination is supposed to be. And so almost a year to the day that we're recording this is the day that my channel popped. And it went from basically 15,000 subscribers, if that, to over 150,000 subscribers in a matter of 4 weeks.
That's amazing.
And then now here we are, almost 12 months later, and I am just about to cross the 500,000 subscriber mark.
Yeah.
Part of the mission of my channel is to help people think like a lawyer and to help demystify all of the laws that are around us every single day. And you guys talked about some of the examples of that are just invoked simply by virtue of being a creator on YouTube, and something that seems like it can't possibly involve legal issues. They're all over the place, and they're trapped for the unwary.
It's all over all the drama, for sure.
It is so bad.
You could literally create a drama channel now and just apply it
Let's
to
just stay away from the
legal
drama.
issues.
Drama has ramifications you don't want.
And you have to be careful, because your ignorance of the law is not going to protect you if you run afoul of it. So you can't hide your head in the sand and just say, oh, well, I'm not going to pay attention to it and hope that things are going to work out. That's how lawsuits get started, is people aren't thinking about all of the illegal implications of their YouTube channel or their business or any of the things that we do on an everyday basis.
So Devin, give us some background for the listeners and viewers of this podcast. Like, how did you get started? Like, how did it all work out?
It started back in high school. I was given the choice for my senior English project to either write a long essay or to do a video presentation. And me and my three best friends said, to heck with this essay issue. And we ended up spending the entire senior year of high school working on a video that turned into a 45-minute parody of every English book that we read that year.
Oh, that's funny.
And I think we did the calculation, and for every finished minute that we had in the video, it ended up taking us 20 to 30 hours per person to get that done. Now, when I went to law school, I never thought that was ever going to be something that was relevant to my vocation, but after practicing law and litigation in Los Angeles and Washington, D.C. for over 10 years, I got the itch to be a creator as well. And I started with making videos that were laser focused on law students, because I did pretty well in law school, and I wanted to make sure that everybody else that was going through law school didn't have the hellish experience that you always hear about and you see in Legally Blonde and things like that. And I wanted to make sure that they had some tactics and some strategies to do well in law school. And then after about a year, I had crossed the 10,000 subscriber mark of almost exclusively law students, and I felt like
that's pretty impressive, though, too.
I was very
there's
very
not
happy
that many
with
law
that.
students that are actually in the United States. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just really
Exactly.
small market.
Sure.
And so after a year of laser focusing my content, and I think I had maybe one or two videos over 100,000 views, which I thought was spectacular. And this was totally unknown to my firm at the time. I didn't want to make the two worlds clash. I started focusing on more general interest, things like educating people about legal issues in the news and reacting to portrayals of lawyers in movies and TV shows and explaining when the TV show is completely inaccurate, when people are making an objection to leading during cross-examination, when that's all cross-examination is supposed to be. And so almost a year to the day that we're recording this is the day that my channel popped. And it went from basically 15,000 subscribers, if that, to over 150,000 subscribers in a matter of 4 weeks.
That's amazing.
And then I consider myself an educator. I always wanted to be an educator. And the tentpole videos that deal with the really popular movies and TV shows are the things that get you in the door. But I think the things that keep you on my channel is the fact that I'm going to teach you about the law itself. My quote reaction videos are less my reaction than me actually explaining the law itself. It's not going to be a sensational me, laughing all the time. It's going to be me explaining to you why this particular thing is accurate or why it's not accurate.
And how many laws they broke during the process.
And how many laws Batman and Willy Wonka broke in their various movies.
The child labor laws. That was
that
the
video
funniest.
exploded.
Yeah, that one did pretty well, and that's some of the video series that I have on the channel, and then others are more news focused and trying to explain why politicians did the thing that they did, or why the Department of Justice has done this specific thing, or why the Supreme Court case is important. And I look at those videos as being in opposition to the sort of screaming talking heads that you see on cable news, where it's just someone spouting off from the hip with this insane opinion, and it has no legal basis. And I think part of the value that I want to give to people is to give an explanation in an even-handed way, in a neutral way that you can trust that I'm not going to take sides for the most part, and I'm going to tell you the law as it is, and you don't have to worry about me screaming into a CNN or Fox News camera for hours at a time. I've been incredibly impressed with the level of discourse in my comments. Everybody talks about the dumpster fire that are the comment sections on occasion, but I first of all, having the power to overrule or sustain objections is it'll make anyone drunk with power. But I think people appreciate it, and people come for more level-headed discussions, and it shows in a lot of the comment sections. And it's been great it's also great fun to just read through what people think about those things.
And what I like about is how you're trying to take an unbiased approach. You're saying this is just the law, this is what it is. You can debate with yourself, but this is the law, and that's what I love too.
Have there been situations where people have claimed or flagged your videos?
Every single one.
Every single one.
I think almost every single review/reaction video I've ever done has been claimed by someone.
And so what is usually the step-by-step process that you take? I mean, that I guess other creators could learn from.
Yeah, well, at this point, I just look at it as sport. I think it's great fun.
And you know all the laws.
You don't know who you came in technically.
You're very informed, so you know details that others don't.
I'm not locked in here with you. You are locked in here with me. I did a search fairly recently to see how some creators have dealt with them, just as a point of comparison, because I started doing it just the only way that I knew how, which was as a litigator. And I was shocked to see that when people are given the option to sort of include some of their rationale, they add one word to each thing. Explain why it's fair use, transformative. Oh my God, you've got to do more than that. So, so what I do on the front end, and I actually have a disclaimer in all of my videos that explains that they're all fair use, and I have 2 citations to some really good court cases out of New York and California, and if there are creators out there that want a good summary of what the law of fair use is, all they have to do is take those citations. One is the very famous H3 Hosenside versus Klein case. And parenthetically, Ethan and Hilla Klein really did creators a favor by taking that case to the mat, because they did make law and really clarified things in a way that is very good for creators. So I would look up the 2 cases that I cite there as a background for fair use. But I basically write legal briefs. I have, by this time, done this so many times that I have a template that I use, and when you fight a dispute, that's the first level of the content ID system. You're given one of those boxes, those HTML boxes, to include as much as you like. Most people write a few sentences. My dispute, I think, is 500 to 1,000 words.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And I look at it as a summary judgment motion, and I put my best arguments forward. I explain step by step all of the fair use factors, why it applies, why my video is considered fair use. Unfortunately, I don't think rights holders tend to take the disputes very seriously. I think a lot of it is done algorithmically, a digital fingerprint sort of thing. So a lot of times, even though I sign it Devin Stone, Esquire, attorney at law, there still are a fair number of disputes that that go to the next stage, which is the appeal stage. And when you check the box for fair use, it will say, okay, you said that this video is fair use. Explain why. And all it does is track the statutory language. So it sounds very stilted. It doesn't make any sense. YouTube is not doing creators any favor to explain what they need to include. But they then give one of those HTML boxes for each of the 4 fair use factors. And I wrote my brief, as it were, in Word, and it, depending on the video, it's 10 to 15 pages long. And I just copy and paste each relevant section into each of the boxes. And unfortunately, YouTube strips away all of the formatting. So when I submit the thing, it is one solid text block that is 15 pages long.
That'll teach them.
Yeah. I mean, I feel bad for the poor sap that has to read my my response. But, it's done on purpose in a way that is accurate from a legal perspective, is persuasive from a rhetorical perspective, and whether it's a lawyer that reads my response or whether it is just some poor guy earning minimum wage dealing with YouTube disputes, I want them to know that I am very serious when it comes to those things, and I want my response to be different from all of the millions of other disputes that are disputed on a daily basis. And I would say
Have you lost an appeal yet?
Never.
And what's the next step after that?
After you deal with the appeal is the DMCA takedown stage. And what's interesting, we talked about this weird quasi-legal system that YouTube has created that the studios and labels absolutely love. Well, that ends at the appeal stage. When you get to the appeal stage, the rights holder does not have a choice except to release the claim or to file a DMCA takedown, which is a legal notice that is set by law. We're now entering into real copyright territory. This is the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. And at that point, if they file a DMCA takedown, YouTube will take down your video. They don't have a choice. And they will also issue a copyright strike against you. And unfortunately, a lot of creators freak out at that stage, and they will just simply delete the video. And while that's not necessarily the worst idea, it does leave the copyright strike on your channel. And 3 copyright strikes and you're out. But there are real legal repercussions that can flow to the studios and labels that file a DMCA takedown with YouTube, and they really don't like to do that because they can be on the hook for attorney's fees if people do take them to the mat. The instances of people doing that.
And are you just waiting for that to happen? You're just like, okay, I can't wait.
I've only dealt with one DMCA takedown, which I won. Fair warning to the next studio or label that issues one. I'd love to go after them and take my attorney's fees.
That needs to be a little serious on your channel because that would be fun to watch.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Like behind the scenes.
No. It'd be like Matlock. We're going to solve this. But no, that'd be awesome.
No, that'd be a good idea to it'd be great for creators to be able to have that type of support and help. Just knowing your step-by-step process would be very enlightening. Because I doubt people have a template.
No, well, here's the thing about it is, where do they even get the template from?
Sure.
Who's actually studying law on this? And it's so complex. It's so, like you said, YouTube's a weird beast. It really is. And how do you know what to do? And it's just like, I just tell my clients, just avoid any appearance of anything.
Your clients that are creators.
Yeah. I'm like, don't use music unless you own it. Don't there's a lot of different things that, I try to instill in them because it's just so complicated, and it can get where it takes a lot of time out of creators' lives when they want to just create content, not fight some dispute.
And the stakes are incredibly high. I think most creators don't quite understand that because they've been lulled into a relatively false sense of security based on the YouTube system. Right. A lot of my legal career has been spent litigating actual copyright claims that involve actual copyright infringement. And by way of example, one of the last copyright cases I handled, I was representing some actors and directors in some movie studios, and a screenwriter filed suit against them claiming that they released a movie that infringed on the screenwriter's copyright in a screenplay. We felt that the lawsuit was meritless, and we were successful in that respect, but we ended up getting our fees from the plaintiff. So imagine you're a plaintiff, you are trying to stop people from infringing from your IP, and you think the worst case, the worst possible thing that could happen is the case goes away and gets dismissed. Not true when you're dealing with copyright. Often attorney's fees are on the table, and we won $320,000 in attorney's fees from the plaintiff. And I've dealt with other copyright claims where someone included artwork without permission, and we ultimately recovered hundreds of thousands of dollars because of this copyright infringement. The stakes are higher than people recognize, and it's all the more reason it's crazy to think that you can go alone, or that you can really even get away with not including copyrighted material. Because say you're walking down the street and you happen to walk by a cafe that's playing a song on the radio. If that gets in your video, that's considered copyright infringement. And you thought you were doing everything reasonable. You weren't purposefully including things. And don't even get me started about the meme economy that we have, where people are using animated GIFs or short clips for the mimetic reactions. And I think copyright law is going to have to change when it comes to those things. But as it stands, there are all kinds of legal landmines for creators to have to deal with.